So let's head back up to Actions, and what I want to do now is create a read replica. So all we have to do is choose Create Read Replica, and now because this is a separate database instance, you get to choose the instance class again. I'm going to leave it on T2 Micro. You can even make a multi-AZ standby for your read replica. I'm not going to put that on for now. Let's just scroll down. We can choose the availability zone if we like. Let's put this one into A. And by the way, you can always choose whether you want your databases to have public availability or not. So can they be accessed from the public internet? In this case, I don't need to, so I'll just leave it on no. You can also choose to enable encryption. In this case, I'm not going to. Now, you can't actually have an encrypted read replica of an unencrypted master database anyway. So even though you almost look like you can do it here, you actually can't. So I need to give it an identifier. In this case, I'm going to give it the identifier digitalcloud-RO for read-only because this is our read replica. And this does have to be different to the master database. The database port is going to be the same, and all the other options here we can leave. So let's just choose Create Read Replica. So that was it. Again, a really simple way to update your database. Let's just have a look back on the slides. So what we've done here is we've taken our master database instance, the one that our applications are able to read and write to. We've created a standby copy in another availability zone, which means if there's any kind of failure in this availability zone or of this database instance, we can automatically fail over to the standby. And the connection string, so the address which our applications connect to, gets remapped automatically to the standby, so that our applications just start talking to the standby instead. And then the other thing we did was to create a read replica. And that means we can now point our applications to the read replica if we want to. And that means we'll offload some of the pressure from the main database for database queries. So you can't write to the read replica, you just are able to perform reads or queries of the database. Now let's head back up to our list of databases. You can see now that we have two databases. So we've got the main digital cloud database, and then we've got our replica. So this is our read replica, and that's in the creating state. So it is a completely separate database instance running in a different availability zone. Let's have a look at a few other options. So for backups of our database, there's two things you can do. Firstly, there's an automated backup. With the automated backups, the database is backed up, and it can be backed up right up to about 5 minutes in the past. So you have these point-in-time backups that are continuously taken. So if we click on the database here, we can then go to Actions, Restore to a point in time. And it tells me that the last restorable time is 11:32, and that's just a couple of minutes ago. Alternatively, I could choose Custom and put in the time that I want to restore from. We can then make some changes. We can choose a DB instance class as well, because what happens when you restore is it creates a new database instance. So you're not overwriting the existing database, you're actually creating a new one. Therefore, you get a few parameters that you can apply to your new database. So let's just cancel out of there. The other option is a snapshot. So just like with our EC2 instances, we can take point-in-time snapshots of our disks. So in other words, the EBS volumes that the RDS instance is using. And normally you'd be able to then take a snapshot. In this case, it tells me I don't have any available DB instances. And that's just because if we go back here, our database is not in the available state. Well, it's just become available as I speak. So let's go back to snapshots, click on take snapshot. No, it still thinks that we're not available. So that's quite a simple feature to use anyway. And when you create a snapshot, it will stay there for until you delete it basically. You have to manually delete your snapshots if you want to get rid of them. And these can be taken in addition to the automated backups. It's not one or the other. A few minutes have passed, and now we can see that both the digital cloud and the read replica of our digital cloud database are both available. So let's go into this read-only database here, the read replica. So what you'll notice is that we have a different endpoint. So this is the endpoint that you would provide to your applications to connect them to this database. So remember, for your master database for the writes, you have a connection string, and then you have a different connection string for your read replica. So let's go back up. We've finished with this one now. I'm not going to do any more with the digital cloud read-only database. So I can just click on the option here and then select delete. And I just need to enter delete me. So that will now be removed. And that's it for this lesson. So we've built our master database. We've launched our standby for multi-AZ failover, and then we tried out a read replica as well to see how that works. Now we've removed the read replica, but I'm going to leave the master running because in the next lesson, what we're going to do is install WordPress on an Amazon EC2 instance and then connect the WordPress to a database on Amazon RDS.